from somebody somewhere, and it's just like, I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm fucking this egotistical twat that thinks he knows everything, because I fucking don't.
Yeah.
It's just people come to me for the information I do know, but I love learning.
And
I love it.
Best thing you said, they get to handpick what works and what doesn't. And how boring is life when all you do is agree with people on things?
Welcome to the Prime Life Project podcast, a place to help you unlock your full potential, both mentally and physically, to become the best version of you. Welcome back to another episode of the Prime Life Project podcast. I'm your host, Daniel James, and today I'm joined by Mr. Mikey. How are we?
I'm back, baby. I'm alive.
You're alive.
I'm
the reason I was here, I've had to
here.
drag him here, like I've had to resurrect him. We've got like Chrissy behind us, like making sure that he's actually still alive, got a drip inside him.
You are coming to your bus and you are doing a podcast. Sit down. So
We're going to have your friend Jody on. He let us down last minute. I was like, well, he'll be on, Jody.
This is my friends. They correlate.
But it's one of the things, like I said, I wanted to get you on a lot more regularly, and I said have you on as more of a co-host, and obviously travelling here because you've literally been fucked, and this is the first time you actually seem like your normal self, because when I saw you the other day, you were not okay.
I can still see three of you at the minute, so I don't know which one I'm talking to.
Take the left one.
Yeah, but I do honestly feel a lot better, man. The only way I can describe it at the minute, on a film, do you know when you sort of see when they swipe right or left and it all goes a bit weird and trails? I've got that a little bit at the minute, and that's the only thing. My mind's sort of come back to, do you know what it is? It's going to the gym.
Yeah.
Just being back at the gym, I've realised how important body is, because I always work on mind, always work on soul, but when I let the body lapse, and it's the easiest thing to let go as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
The body. You think, I'm all good, I'm fine, I don't need it, but then as soon as you get sick, it just hits you and you go, oh, dude.
I've also noticed as well that people are watching this on YouTube, they can see the blue tattoo now.
Oh, yeah, I do have it, yeah.
Like, they couldn't see because I had a hoodie on, but there you go, you can see the blue from, and if you don't know what we're talking about, go check out the podcast with Mikey, when Mike shared his story about Blue and how Jungle Book saved his life, which is absolutely awesome. But I said, because you were there when I did the one on resilience, and you just sort of sat there and you were like, actually, do you know what, I kind of had some stuff to say.
I was gutted I didn't get involved.
But it's a case of, I know that you can add the value to this sort of stuff, and again, it's a good one to ease you back into it, because I know you do your own podcast, so I thought, right, we're here. Like, and again, I don't want you to travel because we've got a big podcast coming up, so I thought I'm going to come here on the bus. And you know what, it's really therapeutic. When it starts to rain,
yeah, man, it's like being camping.
I could honestly just sleep on this bus. Like, I mean, it's warm. Do not get me wrong, but I mean, like, if I could just like.
Well, I reckon we've got a projector, so we're going to have cinema nights on. So we're going to invite you over, and we can just get some duvets out.
There you go.
All cuddle up.
Yeah.
It would be lovely.
Chrissy, be careful, he's trying to steal.
Yeah.
He's trying to come on to me. So today, before we get into today's episode, like I said before, me and Mike can go into something which we've both had personal experience with, and this is actually a personal question from someone that follows the podcast, followed them for a while, and they collared me in the gym actually, funny enough, the other day, and basically said, can you do a podcast on this topic, because I've searched for it everywhere and I can't find what I'm looking for. So we're going to be talking about judgment and a specific kind of judgment, so we're going to go into that in a second. But as I said, if you take any sort of value from today's episode, if it makes you think, if it gives you different perspective, if it gives you some knowledge that you can use, give us a like, give us a share, help us spread the word to help as many people as possible. Again, when you guys just take a screenshot, stick it on Instagram, tag us in it, it's absolutely awesome, and it means the world, because again, it helps us grow the episodes, it helps us grow the podcast. And I said this before, like me and Mikey, and again Chrissy as well, like we've got some massive plans for this podcast going forward, and again, it's all just to help you guys, to basically help you guys become the best versions of yourselves, essentially. But today, when it comes to judgment, so we're not just talking about normal judgment where like we're looking at Mikey thinking, fucking hell, he's got a vest on, like it's raining outside, what a dickhead.
Who shows the gun show in the rain?
Goes to the gym once, wears a vest. Yeah. That's the kind of guy you are.
That's exactly what happened as well.
It's the judgment of when you start to level up. So obviously some people, I think it's episode number 81 of the podcast, so again, we've been going for quite a while now. And again, if you've been following this for a while, or if you've been going through your own journey, you will potentially know what me and Mike are talking about and what this specific client was relating to. As you start to level up and you basically better yourself, it's a judgment of other people that don't come with you. Now, me and you definitely have spoken about this before. I think it might have been off air at some point. We have so many conversations, I forget. Yeah. But especially when you go on like a spiritual journey, for example. But it could be a spiritual journey, it could be a mindset journey, a mental health journey. It could even be a fat loss journey where you and your partner are both morbidly obese, you're vastly overweight. You then get yourself into really, really good shape, but your partner doesn't do anything. And it's then that judgment of the other person being a bit like, well, what the fuck are they doing? Like, and you then judge them. Does that make sense?
Why are you not bothered about bettering yourself? Like, you could be more. Why are you not doing it?
Yes, because I think you spoke about this on your spiritual journey, and we've both spoke about this ourselves. Like when you start to get some knowledge, you kind of want to ram it down people's throats. You get this all the time with religion and veganism and stuff. Like, and it's like, fuck off, you dickheads! Like, it pushes people away.
It's because you feel like you found the ultimate truth.
Yes.
The ultimate.
Yeah, and
like,
again, you come from a good place though.
Yeah.
You're like, let me help you. Like, I'm amazing now. Like, I know like how bad you are. Let me help. Let me help.
Yeah.
But then you're like, well, why the fuck can't they listen to me? And I think we definitely spoke about this before when it comes to your spiritual journey.
Yeah.
So how have you then come about this? Because I think you went on this journey more sooner than I did when it comes to like getting yourself to that level and then people around you. How did you overcome that judgment of other people when you got yourself to that good place?
I think everybody goes down this path. I think everybody gets to this point. So I think a lot of people listening to this will be able to relate. And we've got to remember that the ego is our biggest trickster. It tells you stuff that, you've evolved, you've learned, you've got to this spiritual realm that nobody else has managed to get to. You need to be this, but it's your ego talking, because you're placing judgment on people, you're placing thought on people, and ego to me is just thought. It's just a constant place of getting annoyed at your surroundings, or even getting excited by your surroundings. It's this thought that's a constant, and you're sort of looking at people like, why are they not this? Why is that not this? Why? And you've got to remember, in the universe there's an isness. Everything just is. And when you've truthfully, in my opinion, evolved or spiritually come understood, it's when you just accept everything for the way it is, and you're happy in yourself. You've got yourself to this level that you're comfortable in. And it's like that Gandhi quote, be the change you want to see. All you got to do is live your spiritual truth to its fullest, and then that emanates, and people want to be it, and people go, oh, bloody hell, I am sick now, I'm fed up of being pissed off all the time. That looks nice, I'm going to give it a go. But I was at that stage where I overcome depression, overcome suicidal thoughts, and looked around and thought, everyone must be like this, everyone must have been.
Let me help.
I need to be there now. So,
but then, do you not think that then sometimes you're putting on other people? Like, people walk around and they're probably very happy, but you're assuming...
that's it, yeah.
You're assuming that, they must be. Or they must be like, I know how you feel.
Yeah.
It's like, how the fuck do you know how someone else feels?
I was feeling very politically aware as well. So I was like, everyone needs to think this political spectrum, feel this spiritual thoughts, and they'll all be up here dancing with me. But actually, like, I was sitting in my kitchen, and all I was doing with my family, mainly family, was pissing everyone off, because they were like, do you know what? We don't actually care about that.
Yeah.
Our contentment comes from being around you, just sitting down, watching TV and feeling happy. That's all we need from you. We don't want to be lectured to and told. And it was the biggest learner for me, was the people that actually are actively seeking it and want to listen. That's who I'm there for now. It's the people that are going, Mikey, I have been stuck in patterns and pain for such a long time. Do you have anything for me? And then I can open up. And that I do a separate podcast called Words and Wisdom. And my disclaimer always is, I'm talking to the people now that are seeking help, are seeking it, because before I would be looking at my dad, for example, and thinking, you can't be happy just playing guitar and then just watching mainstream TV, getting sucked into all the time, and not living for anything. Surely it doesn't make sense. You've got to have this passion or a purpose, or let's go and do things. But he really is, I believe truthfully, is Zen Buddhist in his own way of being. And it's just having an acceptance for people, and you don't need to change the world. You really don't need to change anything.
It's like the Matrix, isn't it? It reminds me of the Matrix in the movie. Like, most people are asleep in the Matrix.
Yeah.
So me and you both know that your dad could get a deeper level of fulfillment.
Yeah.
If he
chooses.
If he chose to, but he doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
He's happy.
Or does he?
So who are we?
Does he? And he's just decided to take the other pill.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%. He's like, I'm not really bothered. I'm happy.
Because
I don't want to know, because it's scary when you take that pill and you go down that rabbit hole.
Because I think he played like professional football and at a high standard, and that was what he did for a long time. Well, like, Hinatan, then went up a bit and up a bit. But he's done his passion, he'd done his purpose fulfillment all day, every day was football, loved it. So I think he knows what it takes to become a great thing at something and then have that taste of what life can be. And after that, like, it might be tiring for him. He might not feel that thirst anymore to feel that way. So now he's just found it in the mundane things. He finds more enjoyment in just literally having a hard day's work, getting in, taking your socks off, shoes off, you know, that feeling you get where you just lay back. And I was just on my journey, because I'm quite young, going up and thinking, no, surely he wants to live for every day, make the most of it. And it's just different wavelengths. And what you've got to learn to do is just listen to people, ask good questions. Instead of telling people answers, ask good questions.
And
because
get them to come to their own conclusion.
Yeah, maybe.
So I talk about questions, like I've got took an moment to look at ego. And then, again, for me, when it comes to ego and you've got yourself in a good place, again, whether it's fat loss, whether you've lost 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whether you've got yourself a new job and you've elevated, whatever it is that's elevated you from the crowd that's around you, I then think it's then the questions you then start to ask yourself, like you said there with the ego. You just have that internal dialogue with yourself. But I think it's more validation. What you're doing is you're trying to seek validation for what you're doing, that you've made the right decision. Like, do you mean you almost get like superiority complex?
Yeah, that's a
and
great word.
you're then sort of like just trying to be like, you basically ask them the question: have I done the right thing? Have I done the right thing? Am I okay? Am I going to be okay? Like, what? And then you're then turning that onto other people. Yeah. To then make yourself see, you're putting them down to elevate yourself even higher.
I couldn't agree more, man. That's where I feel the ego becomes the trickster, because it's hard to articulate, because there's just a no inside you. When you're doing the right thing, when you're living in the righteous way, you've got your family side adhered to, you're doing your creative endeavours, you're doing the physical side, whatever it is, there's a constant no inside of you, like, this is what I want, this is who I am. But at the start of the spiritual journey, where you're a little bit unsure on things, you constantly question it in front of people. You're going, do you think this is right? This is right. This is right. This is right. And yeah, I completely agree. I really remember looking back, being around people and wanting to be a mini Russell Brand and just get this constant validation from, you're saying the right thing, well said. But it's a bit like virtue signaling, isn't it?
Yes.
It's just really being there and wanting everyone to tell you how great you are. But when you've really have sort of, I know it's a cliche saying, but had an awakening, when you truthfully have, you don't need to say it anymore. You live it out.
And that could be anything. Not everyone say they're awakening on a spiritual thing. Like I said, so you have lost 50 pounds, 60 pounds, 70 pounds. Good. Like, you won't need someone to say, oh, you look amazing. Because you will know.
And that's when it's long lasting.
Because you've done the work.
Yeah.
I think it's when people haven't necessarily done the work or done it organically on the spiritual journey, for example. They've almost like tried to go down the back. They've read a book, like the fucking Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and somehow think they're a fucking spiritual master. They've not really, we spoke about this before, they've not really done the work. They don't really get it on that level. So then they need that then validation to prove it. So for me, I think what we're kind of getting at here is that if you're on that level and you're judging people around you, you need to point the finger back on yourself and ask, why are you judging them? Why do you need to judge them? Because who are you to say to your partner that they need to be on the same journey as you? Who are you to tell your partner that they need to lose the 50 pounds?
And it's tiring. It's really tiring, constantly going around and judging people and thinking they should be at a certain level. Or how are you feeling at the minute doing that? What is it doing to your energy levels?
What's it doing to your relationships?
Yeah. Because no one wants to be around you.
Because if I'm going out with you, Mikey,
yes.
2021, if I'm going out with you and I've elevated myself, and I'm thinking, fuck, are you lazy fat fuck?
Yeah.
Why the fuck aren't you doing what I'm doing? Subconsciously, I'm then looking at you a different way. I've then got this image of you that you're lazy, that you're no good. Then that should affect every part of our relationship. Because I'm going to think you're just a lazy fuck.
That's what your reality becomes.
I'm better than you. I can do this. Why the fuck can't you do it? You're so fucking lazy. And it just completely changes it. So it could be how you take the bins out, or how you go to work, how you dress yourself. Why the fuck are you wearing that, you lazy? And it's got nothing to do with anything other than this image I've now put on you, because I've now somehow think I'm better than you.
And because there's a balancing act to it, isn't there?
Yes.
Because if there's people in your life that you're looking at and they are bad influences, that's a different thing.
Yes.
So they're around you and they're suffocating you in, come on, just do a little bit of drugs, just do a little bit of drink, just come on. That's something else where you can eradicate yourself from that if you want to.
And you can judge them, and that's then a positive judgment, which is like, that's not okay.
I don't judge you doing it,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be around that.
Yes.
That's not how I
Yeah.
feel.
You should never judge anyone for any choices they make.
Yeah.
We spoke about it on the sex podcast. Like, whatever people's choices are, you should
It's
never
you.
judge.
Do
It's
you.
them. But then on the flip side, if you are trying to do something positive, like, who are you to then put that on someone else that they should be losing £50, that they should have a better job, that they should be doing whatever. But then I like the point that you hit on about the leading by example. Because clients will say to me, they'll come to me and they're like, oh, why can't my husband do it? Why? And I say to them, like, your husband's heard you say fucking 20 million times before that you're going to get in shape. Why should he believe this is any different? Why? So I said, the way that you get him on board is actually show that this is different.
Yeah.
The way that you can actually articulate things. So rather than it just being the case of, he's saying to you, oh, so why are you having this? Oh, because my trainer says so. He's thinking, fuck's sake, here we go.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, well, actually, it's a protein shake. And actually, do you know what? Protein's responsible for every single chemical reaction in the body. So actually, you'd probably benefit from taking protein shakes. It's not about muscle, you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, do you mean you lose your hair a little bit, your hair's thinner. Actually, it's really good for that. And you say your nails a bit brittle. What you're then doing is you're then passing on that knowledge. You're not being a big-headed dick about it.
Yeah.
But you understand it on that deeper level. You're just then passing it on. Then your partner's going to be a bit like, oh shit, she's actually taking it seriously this time. Then something's going to be planted, that little seed.
Yeah.
I've just been like, maybe I should be taking protein.
Yeah.
Maybe I should look to better myself and get in shape. She's actually serious now, and actually, God, if she she's getting more attention. And then what you're doing is just subtly, just by doing the right thing, going about it the right way, you're just helping them. And what's that quote from Nelson Mandela? We've spoken many times, like, it's a light, not a darkness. That says, it is your light that helps other people. It raises people. That's what you're doing. Like,
Mate,
you're shining light so bright, you're allowing your partner to be like, oh wow, actually I can do this, and then you'll find that you then help them come to your level. Where if you're just then start judging them, oh you fat fuck, have a protein shake. You're gonna think, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
Nobody likes being lectured to, do they?
No, nobody.
And like what you say throughout at the very start, you said it's coming from a loving place. This cast of judgment, it is actually people going, oh, I found this answer. Have this, but the force feeding it down people's throats. And what you just said then, it's about planting seeds. It's about constantly, if you really want change in people and you can tell they're seeking it, but they're not willing to necessarily ask for it or go down the path of it, it's just planting them and watering them. Have more water here and there, and just say, what about this? Or, oh, do you know what? I ate this thing yesterday. It felt so healthy, but I've never felt so good. I've been on it all day, just constantly feeling great about myself.
Like your partner's bloated all the time, and you've been bloated. And actually, tried something new. Oh, actually, do you know what? I swapped this the other day, and it actually really helped my bloating. It might help you.
Yeah.
And then you're leaving it up to them.
Yeah.
You then just plant it, and they might say, oh no, thank you. But actually, they might get then so fed up of the bloating. The one day, oh, Mikey, what was that thing you said that stopped that bloating, that food?
I'm gonna have to give it a go.
Yeah, and then that's what it is. You're doing it the right way. And I think the key thing for this is, as you're leveling up, and again, there's different levels of leveling up. I think we've definitely spoken about it before. We said it's like when you start out and you just level up in any way, whether it's mental health, mindset, spirituality, whatever it is, you think you know everything. I remember when I first learned stuff about personal training, I thought I knew everything. So only when you then level up, you realise that you know fuck all. So you kind of know where people are on their journey, because the people that are spouting out they know everything and trying to ram stuff down people's throats, they don't know anything. Because I've been in the fitness industry for fucking over 10 years. I've got shit ton of transformations. I still don't fucking know everything.
I think that is my universal truth. If I was going to put one out there, the biggest learner I ever found was the moment I went, I was with my mate Jag, and I remember saying it, I went, I know nothing. And I've never felt so free in my whole entire life, because all the road up to there was working out some political spectrum thing. I was in conspiracy theory route. I was like, answers. And then same with spirituality. I was wearing it with my ego. So I was constantly building. But I got so hard slapped in the face, and it was I don't know anything. And it was but it was beautiful. I wanted to cry, because I thought, well, that's took all the pressure off. All I can do is try my best on the daily to come up with things that work and see and constantly sieve. And I'm going to constantly be changing. So I'm going to constantly new answers and keep revamping myself.
And pass it on as you go.
Amen.
If someone asks.
So it's a forever process.
Yeah,
it's always growing, and that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of spirituality. It's forever going to be changing. So there's going to be a new answer daily and constantly, and we can work it out together. But you have to be open hearts and open minds to do that.
We don't know what we don't know.
No. I love that so
but do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't know what we don't know, and that's the biggest thing. It's like the stuff I'm learning at the minute. It's like when I was reading books, I'm like, sometimes I will literally be sat there. My coach would think I'm nuts. When I sat in my office, I'm like, fuck! I just slam my book down. I'm sat there looking at the page. And I'm like, what the fuck is that I've just read? It just blows my mind. But that's the thing. Me and Chris were talking before this about the podcast, some of the episodes I've done. Every time I have a guest on, even like now, even if I fucking know you, I'm always looking to learn.
Yeah.
Like the Paul Cope, prime example. Like, I know the stuff Paul Cope was talking about. He just took it to such a level. I'm like, fucking hell. And even your mate Jodie, we had a little bit of a conversation, and they gave me a great analogy.
Snippets
I'm like, oh my God, but it's like, that's the thing. People are so almost egotistical. And I put here about the self-awareness. Because that's the thing, the point I was trying to get at, which again we always go off on tangents, no change there, is that as you're starting out on the journey and you think you know everything, that the higher you go, you need to understand that you need that self-awareness, because the self-awareness is the key of yourself. And pointing that finger back, I'm like, am I being a dick? Am I being preachy? Am I forcing stuff down people's throats? Am I judging someone? So I think the whole thing of this question here that we're talking about today is that judgment. Ask yourself the question: are you judging someone? And why are you actually judging them? What is it? What is that? Where does that judgment come from? So again, let's use an example of, like I said, fat loss. Let's use fat loss is an easy thing. Like, you've got yourself to a level and your partner's still there. Why are you judging them? Where does that come from? Ask yourself that question. Why? Yes, it's probably because, like we said, it's come from a good place. You love them and you want to see them do better. But surely you respect that person enough to let them make their own decisions. Surely you respect the person. Free will. And again, in relationships, it's not dictatorship. But so why? Why do you need that ego rub, that validation, for someone to like lap up what you're saying? And I think that one of the biggest things people don't, I say this on multiple different occasions, stuff like the biggest thing people can do is just point the finger back at themselves. So if you're noticing that you're judging someone, if you're noticing that you're getting pissed off with your partner, if you're noticing you get pissed off with your children, if you're noticing, but kids are, I don't have any kids, but I imagine they're the worst because again you're trying to do right by them and you're like, I can fucking help you. But at the end of the day, put the finger back at you. How were you as a kid growing up? I imagine you were exactly the same, and your parents probably did try to do the exact same. But that's what it is, isn't it? It's like you want the best, but if you try and force something down someone's throat, your kid's going to end up resenting you. Your partner's going to end up resenting you. It has the exact opposite effect.
Completely agree.
If you want your kids to be successful and happy, be successful and happy. Don't try and, but I want them to be fit and healthy. Don't stop, you need to start calorie counting. They're fucking 8 years old. Calorie fucking count. It's like, fucking Jesus, like.
I think there's a gentleness behind it. Do you know, if people come to you...
Softy.
You know me, baby. If people come to you and say, right, I'm on my last thread, what can I do? The information stays with them because they're listening in for it then. There's been so many times where I've listened to a podcast, thought, oh my God, Chrissy or my partner or my family are going to really learn from this. And then I go and explain it to them, what I've listened to, and it comes out really convoluted, or I rehash it, or it doesn't work. And I think what I could have done is just told them to go down to this podcast or listen. This would be cool. Maybe you'd enjoy it. But for people to learn, they've got to go through the experience. If you go and demand it to them, tell them what to do, feel how to feel, it's going to block. They're going to have a blocker up straight away. But if you can go, listen to this interesting thing today, maybe you could try it or find something else that they're going to enjoy.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, I listened to this again. If you're sharing one of the episodes of the Parliament Project podcast, first of all, thank you. But you explain to them, you're not just saying, listen to this. It's going to help you with it, and you basically putting it onto them.
That's what I've done before. I've gone in with that energy.
This is going to help you. Actually, do you know what? Because you're fucking depressed and fucking miserable, and you're fucking low, and your life's fucking shit. It's going to help you.
That is
like,
exactly what I've
just
done.
like, do you know what? I've listened to this podcast. It's absolutely fucking awesome. Like, I was really struggling with feeling low, and actually made me think about a few things. You might enjoy it.
And that's the gentleness. And
you're saying something like, it helped them with feeling a bit low. I feel a bit low. Okay, well, if it's helped them in the sense, really, okay, they get me. And again, you've got that, what's the word, the trust. Like, if you say to me, Dan, this is a podcast, it's fucking awesome. I'm not going to question it, I'm going to listen to it. If some random stranger comes up to me, like, this is a podcast, I'm like,
what is it about it?
Like, you need to, it's like, why? And like, what actually, and I'm like, fucking hell, actually. And if you're saying to me, Dan, actually, do you know when we talk about, like, depression, this podcast, kind of, the way they articulated depression, actually really made me think about it quite a lot, and he intertwined all this stuff, I think you'll really enjoy it. I'd be like, mate, I fucking listen to that, awesome. So I think it's like when you're passing on information, whether it's a podcast or whatever it is, come from a place of, this has helped me because. You set up, again, the podcast that we're setting up, what we're doing here, it's not me ramming information down people's throats. When I'm
Yeah.
sat there again with the resilience one, it's just me just talking. I'm not lecturing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm literally like, I've learnt this shit.
Yeah.
This has helped me. Maybe it could help you.
Here's a cavalcade of ideas.
yeah,
Here's an array of thought. Maybe 27
one
minutes
thing.
in, that's the one thing they needed. But it isn't you going, everything I say now is gospel, and if
Or
you don't listen
you
to
don't
it...
agree.
Yeah, yeah.
If
yeah.
you don't agree, cool. Why don't you agree?
Yeah, and then you're doing your own
Yes.
mathematics and
Yes.
learning. Yeah,
Oh, I don't
completely
agree. So again, we spoke about this in the
Yeah.
Andy Cope podcast. Love Andy Cope. Again, anyone said like he's literally one of the people that I've also once idolised. But I don't agree when he said that all therapy is bad and it
Yeah.
perpetuates you. I don't agree with that. I do that CBT can do, and that therapy isn't right for some people.
Yeah.
But I also massively agree that therapy is really good for some people. Okay, so he's made that statement. Why do I not agree with that? I don't agree with it because I know a lot of therapists, Scarlett, for example, again, Rebecca Dakin, for example, the stuff that I've done, like, and it fucking helps and it really works.
Yeah.
Like, I know personal clients of mine that it's helped massively. So therefore, I'm looking at that information. I don't agree. Why do I not agree?
Yeah.
And he's a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
He's a doctor of... He's a smart fucking bloke.
Yeah.
But he's not on the same journey as me.
Yeah.
He's not had the same experiences as me. So I can disagree. I can agree to disagree, but then I'm looking back at it, turn the finger at me. Why don't I agree with what Dan said? Why don't I agree with what Mikey said? And then you're making your own story of it.
Strengthens it.
Yes. But then you back it up what you know. As long as it's not coming from a place of being a dickhead, arrogant ego and
Yeah.
not wanting to learn.
Switch
no,
off.
No, this is the
what
right
I've
answer.
learned.
No. It's a case of like, well, I've learned this and it really works for me. So I don't actually agree with what Mikey said there, but actually that part, yeah, it kind of fits in what's said here. So I think you got to have a high willingness to learn and a high willingness to unlearn what you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's amazing.
And relearn.
It's an amazing analogy that helps with this. It's like most people will come to me on the fat loss journey because again we spoke about this last time with the online coaching. It's not just I don't just give you plans. I help educate you on a deeper level. But when people come to me, they've basically got a skip full of shit.
Yeah.
They've then got a really nice T-shirt that I'm
Yeah.
going to give them. They have to empty the skip of all the shit they already have in order to put the nice shirt in there without it being ruined.
Yeah.
What people try and do is they put the nice shirt on top of the skip and it gets fucking ruined. And that nice shirt gets part of the shit. You've got to be open to unlearning.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to be open to being wrong. Because you can learn stuff from absolutely everybody. And that's one of the biggest things. Like, I can't stand how some people look down on people because they're a waiter or because they do this job or that job. You can learn from anybody, even if you're learning how not to do things. So the homeless person on the street, go and speak to them about how not to fucking be homeless.
Yeah.
That person's then taught you something.
Yeah.
Don't look down on them because they're fucking homeless. Like, they can teach you something. And I think you've always got to be a student of life.
Mate, 100%.
There's always an opportunity to learn from somebody somewhere. And it's just like, I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm fucking this egotistical twat that thinks he knows everything, because I fucking don't.
Yeah.
It's just people come to me for the information I do know, but I love learning.
And
I
the
love it.
best thing you said, they get to handpick what works and what doesn't. And how boring is life when all you do is agree with people on things? So I did go down it when I was so I'd done my travelling, met loads of spiritual people telling me spiritual things. So I only knew that was my circle, that was my tribe. But after a while, you just think it's really enjoyable to go back to my football lads, and we've all got concepts and ideologies and thoughts, and they can say stuff to me where it actually it grounds me more. I've learnt something from them, because the people that are up in the clouds a lot, I'm floating and I'm thinking about astral planes and all this thing, but there's a big root of me that's from Ripley. I'm a bit of a lad's lad as well, and some of my mates come and I just totally disregard what they say back in the day, but now I listen into it and I'm like, what can I gain from that? What do I get from that? It's just have a laugh. That's a beautiful thing. Why does everything have to be this acquiring knowledge and learning to get to a next level, when a lot of my friends are just like, oh, why bother be thinking that deep? There's a truth in there. There's a genuine truth in there that I can implement in my life when I'm overdoing it. Do you know what I mean? Everybody you meet, if they say something to you where you think absolute bollocks, you can still sieve and find out your truth within it. I really believe. You said something nice there in your analogy, in the skip of shit. Another thing is...
What great forgetting, by the way. Just give a shit.
The thing is, if you go into their skip and start sieving it out and getting everything out for them, eventually that skip is going to get filled back in, because they haven't learnt the tools to do it for themselves. So I think it's really important as well, just to stop relying on people. So again, you've got to be a student of life, go around listening in, taking in knowledge, taking in ideas, but you've got to turn it into your own experience, into your own moment.
And that's what I say to my clients as well. Like, a lot of my clients will say, yeah, but what happens when I leave you?
Yeah.
You'll be absolutely fine. Like, the whole point is, again, you're learning.
Look at Weight Watchers. Everyone puts on more.
Yes,
after.
because they're not learning.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, the whole point is, when you come to me, I'm teaching you the tools so that you don't need me.
Yeah,
Check
that's
that out
amazing.
for business concept.
That's a great idea.
I want to teach you to not need me.
Yeah.
Now, again, I've had clients that stay with me for over a year. They've already achieved their results. They enjoyed the stuff that you became part of on the Friday workshops and stuff. Awesome.
Part of a community.
Yes, 100% that. But they don't necessarily need it. They just want to, because I'm constantly learning, and that's what I do these workshops. Every week I'll come with a new workshop, like a podcast. I've got fucking team meetings I've got to come up with. I've got podcasts. I've got the workshops. I've got the Instagram lives. I've got fucking all these things I've got to come out with. But the point is, I'm constantly trying to pass on that information I'm learning as I'm growing. They want to be part of that. But the whole premise is that I say to people and sign up with me, you have to learn. And one of the questions I ask on the check-ins is, what did you learn from this week's video? So they're not just watching it. What did you learn? What did you learn from the podcast that you watched? What did you learn?
Yeah.
So it means they're actually paying attention and thinking, right, I'm going to be asked a question here. What I'm going to learn. So again, put it to the fucking listeners listening to this or watching this. What have you learned from this episode? Because there's one thing you will have learned, whether it's confirming something that you knew or disregarding something that you thought, fucking hell, actually, that's not right. Cool. What have you learned from this episode? So I challenge you right now. What have you learned from this episode? Again, we're still going to carry on going, but what have you actually learned? Because that's then a question you should go into every episode of it. Not even this podcast, any podcast or anything. What can I learn? Because even just being like, I knew that. Okay, cool. Well, you've learned something. That you are right. You've had something confirmed to you. You've learned something then.
I've found out how important that topping up is. I had a podcast on today, and it had a bit of Eckhart Tolle in it. And again, there was truths being said in different ways how I'd not heard it, but there were truths that I knew. But after feeling so ill for so long, there were just little top-ups, and it was a remembrance. And it made, honestly, I had the biggest come-up. I was just like, oh, wow, I needed that at that moment. And it's good to keep having those little top-up moments, isn't it? It's good to keep going back and just reminding yourself and remembering who you are and what you're about.
But I think, you've got to think all the information that you know, it's not always relevant.
Yeah.
Like we did the...
and it's just as important as learning something new as to take in what you already know.
Because I always think back to the podcast that I did with you. Always, because I do not fucking know how I came out with half the shit. Because my brain was not in gear that day. But it was there somewhere.
Yeah.
So we all know this information. We've heard it somewhere. It's just there on that subconscious level. You've got to be able to get in there and actually...
access.
And that's something I've got a lot better at through meditation.
Yeah.
Is that I can recall information if I need to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still forget, like I forgot Terry Tucker's name earlier on about previous episodes, but like my ability to understand important information.
Yeah.
And in fact, each morning I've got my ritual stuff, like I'm telling my brain this is important, so it's always kind of there. But I think a lot of us forget how much we actually know. Like we know a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And again, even if you are, like I said, a cleaner or just whatever you think your job isn't important, you're going to know a lot more about fucking cleaning than I fucking know.
Yeah.
That's important to know that. Like, yes, if you, or even if you work at McDonald's doing French fries, cool. I don't know how to fucking do that shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. And I think people look down on these different jobs and what people do. And again, being a stay-at-home mum, I've gone on massive rants about this. About since when's being a stay-at-home mum not been enough? Like, you're literally raising a child and fucking looking after a child, and potentially, whether you're stay-at-home mum or dad, potentially sacrificing your career to raise your. Fuck me.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But the stuff you're going to learn about that and how to raise a child and how to be around, I don't fucking know. Do you know what I mean? I ain't got a clue.
Yeah.
But it's like people always trying to put themselves like the whole comparison thing of like, oh, I'm not good enough. And again, that's when that whole I've got to find validation to prove I'm better than someone. Oh, actually, my partner's a bag of shit. I'll fucking put it on them.
Yeah.
Or my kids are fucking lazy. I'll put it on them. It's like you always go to someone to try and there's no need for it really when you realise that we're all on the same fucking journey.
It's really low frequency, isn't it? The stuff you're feeding into your brain is only going to be a manifestation of what you act out and how you feel. So if you can go around in non-judgment and just looking at people of they've got an array of knowledge, there's got good bits and bad bits about them, everybody has, I'm going to seek out the good bits and learn from that. See everybody as just a constant. Do you know what I mean?
How boring it would be if everyone was the same.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And all just want to speak of this spiritual plane.
All the same weight, all the same body type, all the same spiritual thing. It'd be fucking boring.
It's something of me, because at school I was like same as you, outcast, really bullied, so I never found a place. But actually I've learnt from that, and I can be around anybody now and learn, like on Cope, not Andy Cope, the Paul Copes. Yeah. I can chameleon. I can be around people and get to sieve out what works for me, and turn that conversation that I'm having with them into a comfortability where we're both feeling good, and then they start to give me truths and I can go, oh, that's interesting, I'm going to take that away. And it's just good to be around people, make them feel comfortable, and that's where your learning can come from. For me, before, when I was like, oh, I'm on this plane now, I was forcing them into my world, into my way of being, this is way of thinking. But if you can learn to chameleon, get them on a comfortable position, people are going to want you around them. Your reality is going to be so enjoyable, because they're like, oh, there's that guy that I enjoy talking to, enjoy being around, I can actually open up to, be my true self to.
Leading with love.
Yes, mate, yeah. Like your light. Yeah.
100%. And it's, again, a note I wrote here was saying, remember that you struggled once.
Yeah.
You struggled once. Like, this person that you're judging, you were once them.
Yeah.
How would you like to have been perceived in that situation? When you were there struggling, there's always going to be someone that's better than you. So when you were there, let's say, again, go back to the whole partners, and you're both 50 pounds overweight, you've now dropped it, you're now judging your partner that hasn't. Okay, well, when you're both 50, how would you have liked it if someone has started judging you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have liked it. How would you have liked someone to actually spoke to you, judged you, spoke to you? Like, you wouldn't have wanted to be judged. You wanted someone to actually show you a bit of love, a bit of compassion, and be like, oh, actually, I've got all these ideas, but it's nice and gentle, nice and light. Like, oh, actually, do you know what? There's this thing I'm trying that you might like. It's this new gym that's opened up. You might enjoy it. Like, I really struggled with my weight, actually. It's really sort of helped me. Nicely, gently, rather than, you fat fuck. Like, do you know what I mean? What's wrong with you? I can do it. Why can't you? It's just a bit like, okay. And again, it's understanding what's people's different values in life. That's another thing. Like, maybe people don't necessarily value their health. Maybe they don't value their mental health mindset. Maybe they actually just value, like your dad, the simple things.
Yeah.
You can't force people to have your values.
I wouldn't underestimate what's going on in people's heads as well, because when you get this knowledge and gain it, I'm very compassionate that it is so exciting. It is. You've been told all this life at school and education, there's this one way of living, you get this job, you do this thing, and then suddenly when you break the barriers and you go out the box and you go,
find something new, like it's like the Truman Show, you step, you're like,
yes,
there's a different world out there, like, shit.
You do want everyone to come with, but to some degree, some people may have broke through it. Don't underestimate people as well. There's probably people on a path, and again, you're pushing them away when they've done their process, they've done their learning. That I've done that to a lot of people where I've been at raves or festivals and places, and been so engrossed in my own ego that I've been speaking to people on this plane, and they've outcast me because I underestimated them, and they think like we think, but I spoke to them in this sort of undermined way.
So they've come out. So you're like Neo in the Matrix. You come out, then you go back into the Matrix. And you're assuming that you're the only person that's back in the Matrix.
Mate, I was so strongly there, honestly, and you outcast yourself from people. So that's you said to me before this podcast. Sometimes I play dumb. And it is a bit of a game plan to me, because I enjoy it. Don't give off too much, because I see where people are at now. I gather information. I try and listen a lot harder, see where they're at, and then that I can come back with an appropriate response, a proper way of being, because I did before, like I've done in this podcast and other podcasts, I'll just talk, expect them to be at a certain level, and then afterwards they're like, well, you didn't give me any opportunity to talk there, or you didn't give me any point of listening. And it's just because I had it in my head that they needed this, and they didn't.
I needed to drag them along this podcast. But that's what I'm saying. So again, for the audience listening, basically, a good friend of mine, basically turned around and said that they'd listened to Mikey's podcast and basically was playing dumb, and they were pissed off with Mikey because they were like, I know he's not like that, and I was like, well, I don't even know which episode you're talking about. But the thing is, I know Mikey on a deep level, and I've only ever known him as he is here now, and that's the thing. Like, as you said before the show, like he trusts me to then be your true authentic self. And again, that's then kudos to you, the listeners, because the only way that I can articulate stuff on this level is because of you guys and how awesome you are. As I said, so like the listeners allow me to be this.
Yeah.
So then allows you to be you. So then we can then get together to then have these conversations. The guests, again, people have rightly pointed out, the guests I'm getting are better, they're deeper.
Yeah.
It's because that's what my audience wants.
Yeah.
Like, that's the level that they're at. It's just understanding, just gauging that. So it's kudos to my audience and the kind of people that they are. They actually want to learn and know this stuff. Because, again, if they didn't, then we wouldn't be talking like this.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, that when you came on, and again, I've never seen you, quote unquote, acting dumb.
Yeah.
But I've never got off you because I've known you on the podcast that I went on with you. And again, you said it because you felt comfortable and the level that we were on. So you were talking to me on my level, which again, I didn't realise. I thought that was just you. And then when we had the podcast, when you came on as a guest for me, that was fucking awesome. You're on that level. And then even now, and having talking off air, I've never seen that version of you.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how you then explained why you did that.
Yeah.
Again, because you don't want to be judging people and on this fucking ego wagon of,
it's just,
you fucking stupid fucker, like, get to this level. You're on my fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Get the fuck on this level. Because it doesn't work.
No. I've had people really uncomfortable in my old self, and I felt it. So that self-awareness and that consciousness of how you're being, I went back in the room and I remembered what my dad said. He was like, don't give off too much, man. Like, keep it low, keep it gentle, keep it quiet. And then, that's where true wisdom comes from for me, because you've not just listened, but then you've digested it and you've thought of something appropriate to say. And I see a lot of people, and I love them to pieces, but they're on this spiritual journey. They've listened to 5 audio books, they've listened to 10 podcasts, they've read 4 books. It's all information based, and they just spew it all over you. And it's so uncomfortable. I've been there, so I'm totally compassionate towards it. But my approach fully flipped on its head. It was, right, what I'm going to do is be very quiet in myself, listen. You smile, don't you, when somebody says something? You're like, oh, I've got something here now. I've been there. I'm an empath. I remember that position. And then you can work out, how do I say that to them where they're going to benefit most from it?
It's like a library.
Yeah.
So someone's coming to you and you're just sat there quietly at a library, someone's talking to you, and then your brain is just like, right, I think I've got something that could help them.
Yes.
And you just quietly just walk off,
Sip
get the book
it
off
through.
the shelf. There you go, and then you go. Rather than it'd be like a fucking crazy nightclub rave of this knowledge.
Honestly, dude, I've had it so much recently.
No, actually, just like a little library. Someone's there, but your whole persona is like, I've got knowledge. I've got a fucking shit ton of it.
Yeah.
What does this person need?
And there's 10 books on that shelf, all with the same one, but this person in front of me now needs this book.
This one,
because this one's going to help them the most.
It's slightly articulated in this way because that's where they're struggling specifically.
Yeah.
And again, I had an amazing girl, I can't remember her name for the life of me, maybe she listens to this episode, messaged me on Instagram. Literally purely followed me for the podcast and says, just reached out, said, oh, hi, thanks for following, blah, blah. I said, oh, yeah, I'm actually thinking of listening to your podcast. I've been recommended by a friend. I said, oh, what can I help you with? Like, do you want me to, is there any specific episode that you're wanting to listen to?
Yeah.
And she said, oh, not really, I was thinking of this one. I said, what can I help you with? Like, and maybe I can sort of pinpoint specifically where you want to go. And she says, oh, I'm actually struggling with this and this. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, I've struggled with this as well. So then I made it feel a little more comfortable. I said, I think this episode's going to help you a little bit more. So again, I've gone to my arsenal of this library and been like, actually, this is what this person needs right now. Because again, with 80 episodes, if you don't know me, and as I said to her, some of the episode titles may not do it justice. So here you go, here's this episode, I think you'll like this one.
Yeah.
Because from what you told me, there it is. Rather than just being like, oh, they're all fucking good. Like, it's like, fucking, it's like, no.
Yeah.
What does this person need? Where can I go with it? It's like, just take a step back. Right.
I think this question and this topic has been brilliant. Because a lot of people, the corona times, didn't want to say the C word, but
shadow banned you doing this to get your podcast higher rankings, so you're trying to destroy mine.
I told you it was a competition from the start. But from that world where we've been forced into this place of thinking, and I've seen a lot of spiritual evolutions at the minute. I've seen a lot of people going into that world, and you do have to just have compassion in your heart. Where we've been there, so when I go to the gym or certain places, football now, and going, that they are thinking laterally. They're not thinking straight. They're thinking
everything is black and white nowadays. There's no grey.
Yeah,
it's either one or the other.
No nuance.
It's like you're right or wrong.
Yeah,
like that's it. There's nothing in the middle.
The ones that have gone to this spiritual realm, I'm really experiencing it a lot where they are ramming it down my throat, and I'm sat back and I'm smiling because I go, oh yeah, I remember this, I remember that. But you do have to respect that it is that moment of all or nothing. You've just gone, this was all a lie, so this is all the truth. And that is the beauty. There's the nuance in the middle of it all.
Because you're I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
So you are coming from a place of, I'm trying to help. I've unplugged from the Matrix. Let me fucking help you.
Yeah.
But you need to understand, people listening to this, you really just need to understand that you can't scream.
Yeah.
Because people aren't ready to hear it.
It's a lose-lose.
Yes.
You feel shit because you're judging people,
and they're not listening to you.
No, people around you don't want to be in your vicinity because they're feeling force-fed and they need to go on their own journeys. And the whole reality around you is a low frequency.
Yeah, 100%. Just work quietly in the shadows.
Yeah, that's a beautiful. Is that your quote?
No, it's not my quote.
No, I like
that.
So.
It is now.
We're having it. We're having it large.
Yeah, just work quietly in the shadows.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to shout out what you're doing. Just get yourself into a good place. Like, don't tell people that's what you're doing. Don't try and remember nothing. Get yourself into a good place, and I promise you, the people that will want help will ask for help.
Yeah.
You seem in a very good place now. How have you done that?
I think you're lying to yourself. If you're casting judgment and looking at people and like, why can't you be like this? You've not fully found the truth yet. You've not fully gone on the journey, because the judgment side and the not accepting people is what you're doing, and that's all ego based. That's all ego led.
Even the fat loss side of stuff, like, so if you've lost, I don't know, fucking 150, fucking 200 pounds, let's say, for example, you go from morbidly obese to like quote unquote normal. What the fuck normal is? You get my gist of what I'm saying with that. Like, you've dropped this shit ton of weight. Yeah. Why would you then want to then judge people with the same position as you? Because it's almost like you're doing it to yourself in a way. Like am I making sense there?
Yeah,
you're
completely.
Like, by you then belittling people that are back where you were. Yeah. You're doing that. Used to be you. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, you should be content and happy with yourself along the journey. That's what I talk about again. Everything I work on with clients along the journey. If you get into that goal, you need to learn to love and forgive yourself. So when you get to that goal, you then don't become that judgmental person, because then people will come to you naturally and be like, "Oh my God, you look amazing. How did you do it?" Rather than you then going around judging people for being fat when that used to be you. Yeah. How would you have felt if people turned around to you and started fucking preaching? You'd have thought they were a fucking dickhead. It doesn't work. So just remember, you were that person once, whether it's fat loss, whether it's spirituality, whether it's mental health, whether it's monetary-wise, whatever it is, you were that person once. Get yourself to that place where you're in such a good place, people come to you. Yeah. So people come to me, and again, I can tell people being genuine if they're really struggling or not, because I'm like, oh, go and do this. If they can't do it, they're not in the place they think they are. Yeah. Because when you're in that place and you ask for help and you really, really want help, you'll do whatever anyone says. Yeah. And again, you can't know anything about that. I'm then not judging that person. They're not ready. I'm not ramming it down their throat. It's fine. It's not a problem. I just carry on doing me. They carry on doing them. They'll be back when they're ready. That's all you can do.
And for them people that, myself and whoever else that has judged people and been on that field, you know, down the line, say you lose somebody or something like the illness comes across, you might get into that real shit state again. You know, we've had low days. Yeah. We're human. We aren't Eckhart Tolle. We're not.
You've had
the
money.
Buddhist.
You could lose it. You've lost weight. You can gain it back again. You've been happy. You can be sad.
And yeah, I during the illness, to be honest, man, I've been in a low frequency. I've been in a low mood. I've been in a low place. And for me to have a month ago started judging everyone and telling you should be living like this, this, and this, and then a month later go low, and I've just told them what the answer to life is and how to live it. And that clearly shows that I've not got all the answers. I've just got an array of ideas. I've got an array of thoughts that have helped me on the way and have helped me through this shit patch I've been on.
You understand you're never going to be happy all the time. Yeah. You understand that. Yeah. The people that think they're constantly going to be here, they're going to get a rude awakening.
It is awakening.
It's like, no. I never claim to be happy all the time, because I'm never fucking happy all the time. It happens. I was in a fucking shit mood before I came in here. Yeah. But then Chance, you and Chrissy got me in a good place again. That energy transfer. Like, you can't be happy all the time. Stop trying to force that on people. It's not going to be a thing.
We said it in the middle, in the midst of the podcast. At least I don't know where we are now. So if it was the middle of the start, but where we were saying it's all a constant lesson. Yeah. You're never going to know it all. That's why it's together. We have to be compassionate to one another and just accept that we're never going to have a life lesson rule of book that is got everything forever. Because even look at technology. Look at the way the world's changing. Look at everything. There's going to be new lessons to implement that have never been implemented before. So we just have to respect each other and just go, right, okay, this has been good. I'm going to live it out, do my best. Like the gym recently, I've bloody loved it. I've been twice yesterday, once today, and I'm walking home, I'm smiling, and honestly, I've had exchanges with people. They're like, "You look happy," and I'm talking to them, and we're just having a great conversation. And that was me going to the gym. So if they said, "Oh, do you know what? I've been feeling shit actually. I've been this," I'd go to them, "Oh, do you know what? I've been going to the gym. Maybe give that a go because it's worked for me. I'm not saying it will for you, but wicked if it does." And do you know what I mean?
But then that can then change because then you come in here.
Yeah.
I'm having a podcast.
Yeah.
And then you're buzzing off your fucking tits.
Exactly.
And then you speak to someone else. What are you doing? You're not then going to say to them, "Oh, I've just been to the gym."
Yeah.
It's then changed, and you're like, "Oh, actually, I just recorded a podcast."
I use my mind and I had to work things out. And
have you ever listened to a podcast? Like, I think they're fascinating. Really haven't thought. Like, I just been listening to Dan talk or whatever you've been doing. Or again, like Chris, you're doing creative stuff. Like, often really creative. So it constantly changes. Again, there's no right or
And that's
one
it,
thing. It's all a flavour of the month almost.
Yeah. But that's great because what you're doing is like your Arsenal, you said earlier, you're adding to the basket, and then everybody that you're around, you can keep listening in, like we were saying, and going, what do you need from there? Okay, I think
You need a bit of creativity.
this could work
bit of
out.
the gym,
Have you thought about poetry? It's interesting actually, and just giving little ideas out here and there. And we're constantly adding to ours, aren't we? We're constantly adding to our basket.
Yeah, you have to be.
And I truthfully believe that in people. If you get into that position of you looking around, you're thinking nobody's got to this level yet, it's because there's not a level.
No.
There literally isn't one.
No.
Diminish the level. You're not at a level. You've just got a bigger basket maybe with things
100%.
in it that you can offer.
And always look for people that can drag you higher as well. Always look for the people and always ask. Again, never think you know everything. There's people above you. As you said, there's always been people that are richer than you, that are in better shape than you, that are more spiritually awake than you, that have got better, whatever it is, they're more content in life. Again, look up to them. And again, the whole thing is like you're trying to help people get that up. So again, you're trying to help people, the people from the bottom, you're trying to help them on their level, but you're doing it in a nice, gently way.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain level, you will then want to ask people.
Yeah.
The people at the bottom, they're not in a place to ask.
Yeah.
You've got to plant the seeds gently. Like when you get to that place of in a certain position, you're then going to want to ask and seek out more because you'll know there'll be more. You'll know there'll be another level to your fitness journey. You'll know there'll be another level to the mental health. You know there'll be more finances you can earn, side jobs, whatever it is. Like you'll know then you're going to seek that out. But when you're at that foundation level, and you haven't quite been like woken up yet. Don't start shouting at people. Just gently plant the seeds and gently water the seeds. That's all you've got to do.
I'm looking forward to the day you meet my other best mate. I'm going to just call you my best mate then. my best mate, I do love you, man. My best mate, Jagger. And again, he has lived a very archetypal life. So the sort of life where you've got a great family house, you've got your perfect car, you know, as you can imagine. So he is very strong in who he is. He's such a great character. And he has fully been the change I want to see. And he's never judged me. He's never said, "Dude, have you thought about not doing when I was in my substance state and stuff?" All he did was live it out. And I remember this so strongly. We were in a party and I was on everything and really unwell. And I'd got a big beard out here. Hygiene had gone down. Everything. I was so ill. And I think he said it purposely in front of me. But he said it to everybody. So I was with a bunch of crazy people, all party goers, mad heads. And Jagger came to this party who would not really bother with them sort of parties. But he loves me, so he was like, I'm going to go and see what cracks. It got to about 2 a.m. and he'd had enough. He wanted to go to bed because mum and dad were out. So we were at farm party, go. And everyone was like, "No, come on, man, stick around. We've got this and drink and this and this." And he just said out loud, but he should have just looked at me and he went, "I'm not a man that needs to make the night last forever." And it stayed with me for that forever. It really has. I couldn't believe it because I looked up and I went, that's me. I can't let go. I want to be going for the next night and the next. And I was the last person up always and just clutching on. And he stood up and went, "No, I'm good, guys. I don't need to make it last forever." Went to bed, looked after himself. He had the balance sorted. And he lived it out, but he didn't directly look at me and go, "Mikey, you're fucking your life up. What are you doing?" He just planted something.
Planted the seed and then walked off.
It was so beautiful. Yeah.
Mate.
That was what a guy. And I've had, because we spoke about this being, you know, when I was enlightened and when I was there, but I've had so many people in my bad stage that I could tell were trying to say something without saying something.
like a lighthouse. I call them
Yes.
I call them lighthouses.
Yes.
They're trying to point the light on the rocks. They don't fucking do anything crazy. It's like shine the light.
Mate, that's absolutely stunning.
So you can still go. You can still go into the rocks, but there's a bit of a lighthouse. I call people literally lighthouses. Like they're just like. Might want to avoid that. Yeah. Might avoid that. Just plant the seed. Might want to avoid that.
That's
it's up
stunning.
to you if you go straight into them, but they're just trying to warn you. But they're not. They can't do anything.
No.
They can't steer the boat for you. They can't. They're literally just there. It's like.
Because I was a naughty boy at school, and the teachers that come over to you, scream in your face, tell you how much of a cock you are, and just go, go, go. My wall's up. I'm gone. There's no chance I'm listening.
With anybody.
Yeah.
So to tell someone you're fat, you're lazy, straight away, my wall's gonna be up.
Gone.
Yeah,
but I've had so many teachers, and I remember the English teacher. He knew there was something in me. Cause I give you my book today, but I've been thirsty for words. I really enjoy. I've got a story to tell, and he was somebody that noticed it in me. But he just was troubled that I was a dick all the time. He was like, well, stop messing about because you've got stuff to say. And he came over and just said, this is absolutely beautiful what you've done. Like, this work here is stunning. Let's do this, Mikey. Let's go for this. I've got time for you. Have you got time for me? And he just gave me this beautiful pep talk. And I was just sat there looking like a puppy, like, oh. And unfortunately, because the system doesn't like people like that, it wants the aggressive... get them doing what they should be doing. He lost his job in a couple of months. He was only there for like 3 months at that school, and he would have changed my life. But
again, he already has done.
Yeah, he did.
Still
yeah,
has done.
the seed.
He did. Yeah, plant the seed. That's all you need.
It's huge.
Again, be a farmer.
Yeah.
Plant seeds.
and have a lighthouse.
Yeah. Be a farmer with a lighthouse. There you go. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Man. We could make a beautiful image out of that.
I'm gonna get someone to draw that.
I really love
that.
Yeah.
There you go.
That is stunning. Hey, we've got Chrissy.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna plant on there. Got a mission.
Chrissy.
Any final thoughts, Mikey, to wrap it up?
More moments later.
So we had actually finished recording the episode, but when we debriefed, so we were debriefing about this episode, and Chrissy came with a really, really good point. We actually didn't cover grief and grief.
Guilt. Don't worry, I couldn't cut that out. Guilt.
We hadn't covered guilt and shame about actually feeling like judgmental towards someone.
Yeah.
So how do we go about that then? Because that's a really good key point. I'm really glad that Chrissy brought it up because we were both a bit like, fuck, that's a really key point. But we were just on a massive rampage about the actual judgment side of stuff. Because people can feel really guilty and almost embarrassed or ashamed that they feel judgmental towards maybe their loved one. Yeah, they love this person to bits, but they're feeling such a strong way towards them.
Yeah.
How do we go about that?
I don't know. I don't know if this is the right way about it, but this worked with me, and it was a friend of mine. And again, I'd been doing quite well in the poetry scene and in music, and he'd been doing a similar thing, but not musically. He was just giving coaching advice out and stuff. But he came to me one day and just went, Mikey, I've been really jealous of you. I've been really jealous recently, and I've got to talk to you about it. And it was this sort of like, I need to create a space now. I want to talk to you about it. And he goes, I've had a constant guilt trip about, I wanted to see you do well. You start doing well, and now I don't like it. What can I do? And we had this beautiful conversation. So sometimes this is a possible answer. Confront it head on and speak to that person that you've been struggling with and feeling that way towards, because we really did change our relationship dynamic from having that real front up conversation. And the way he put himself across was, I goes, well, don't feel guilty, man. I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible through my poetry. You're on the same mission of helping people. I know our egos get a little bit brushed against each other, but if you dissect it down, we're coming from good places. So why can't we coexist? Why don't you get your audience, I'll get my musical audience, bring it together, and we can help more people. And we did. We started working together in different ways, and we changed our approach to one another. So sometimes head on, just going to somebody and saying, I've been feeling really judgmental of you for not being this way. I'm guilty towards it. I'm sorry. I want you to be happy. That's all I want. And this is where my judgment has come from.
I'm sorry if I've come across in a certain way because of that.
Brilliant.
And then they'll be a bit like, oh yeah, you have actually, I've noticed you've been a bit cold towards me. Then they understand why.
Yes.
And again, I also think it's a case of for yourself. I've spoken about this before about finding and forgiving yourself. I think forgiveness is the first thing.
Yeah.
When you notice that you are feeling guilty,
Yeah.
shameful, embarrassed, whatever it is about your feelings. Again, maybe it is someone's. Again, maybe the roles reversed. Maybe you're the one that's stuck somewhere, and again, your partner's lost the £50 or become a millionaire, whatever. I don't know what it is, and you're then feeling guilty or jealous towards them. It's just forgive yourself because these emotions and these thoughts that you're having don't necessarily mean it's you.
Yeah.
You can have thoughts of jealousy, of guilt. Okay, well, where have they come from?
Yeah.
Why do you feel guilty? Oh, because I really love this person. Like, and I shouldn't be judging the fact that they, do you know what I mean, that they're still £50 overweight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Like, you shouldn't be. Forgive yourself. It's okay. Like, it's a normal reaction to have. You care for someone. You're trying to help. Maybe you just haven't gone about it the right way. So then how else can you go about it a different way? I think that's a big thing. I think people do feel guilty, shameful, and it's just right. Articulate it with them, but then forgive yourself.
And it's a beautiful thing when you say, like, guilt, for example. That's a lesson coming. Because guilt is, I feel uncomfortable now.
Yes.
Oh, it's in my stomach, I feel bad. Right, I'm going to learn from this feeling.
Where's this come from?
Yeah,
Why do I feel that way?
Yeah.
And then you point the finger back at yourself again and asking the questions and sitting with yourself like, I just don't feel good actually. Actually, like, feeling this way towards my partner, there's someone that I love or someone that I respect, like, it doesn't feel nice.
And it's not doing anything
it's
for
not doing
me.
anything for me.
Or them.
Yeah, and it's not. And then again, if you want to, again, if you're in that space, again, the art of communication, again, I understand not all relationships are that way inclined, but again, if you can actually communicate that, do you know what? I'm sorry. Like, I'm really sorry that I've been feeling a certain way towards you. Like, if it's come across that way, I do apologise. And again, it may have their back up a little bit, and they'll be like, well, what, you've been a fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
But at least you know you've come from a place. Again, what's your intention? Your intention was actually, I've kind of fucked up here.
And I love what you said, the forgiveness side, because it was Paul Coates' podcast again, wasn't it? Just catch it.
Yeah.
Even if you've let yourself go down 10 levels of, I'm an idiot, I shouldn't have done this, I'm a prick, why did I do that? If you catch it at 10, it's a step up to 9. So
100%.
just catch it and just go,
And forgive yourself.
And smile and laugh it off and play it down and go, right, it's
I need
not,
to learn from this. How can I make sure this doesn't happen again?
I absolutely love that. Because I've completely been in that position so many times where I'm angry because people weren't bothered about bettering their experience, bettering their life, losing that weight or thinking differently. Angry is not a nice place to be.
No.
That's not a nice existence to live. And then to double whammy it with, now I'm guilty that I don't like anyone around me who I used to love. You're really damaging yourself. You're poisoning yourself. You're poisoning your soul. Because these are people that ultimately, when you said it before, at the precipice of it is you love them.
Yeah.
You want the best for them. And you've just battered them down with this negative vibe. So
But everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Again, that's why your phone's got back buttons on it. Delete. Everyone makes mistakes on text messages. It's there. Everyone makes mistakes. It's completely normal and natural. So again, don't judge yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't feel guilty. Just learn from it.
I love that.
It's okay to feel guilty. It's okay. Like, okay, you kind of fucked up. Maybe you were a prick.
Yeah.
Maybe you come across like an arsehole. Cool. Accept it. Accept that feeling of guilt. Okay. What can I do to make sure it doesn't happen again? Can I make amends? If you can, go and do that. If you can't, learn from it. Forgive yourself. Move on. Make sure it doesn't happen again.
Mate, I've really. Who is this question from? Or are you keeping it anonymous?
I'll keep it anonymous.
What a great question.
They know who it is.
Whoever you are, I really enjoy it because in this particular time where it is all up in the air, like polarized, every right or wrong, it's a beautiful way because a lot of people are going through transformations at the minute, spiritual journeys, and it's something that's not really thought about or talked about is watch yourself on it though. You know, be cautious, be conscious, be aware of how you put yourself across in it because you might actually think you're on the righteous path in this thing, but you're dividing yourself from people. So, just keep checking in. I absolutely love it.
I said, if you guys at home again, do want to ever ask me or Mikey a question, it doesn't really matter. Like, I'll happily answer it on the podcast. The podcast there for you guys. I said, I've got a structure on exactly where I'm going with it all. And again, the guests that lined up, But again, there's a question like this. That's just a really good point. Again, happily answer it. Like
it spun me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that thing. I've always thought that,
Yeah.
but I've not thought about having a podcast premise on it.
No.
But it's a brilliant question.
So I've got another. Someone has asked me another question at some point, so we'll get to that at a later date because it's got to be specific to what it needs to be. But it was off the back of the sex one we did with Rebecca Dakin actually. So I said,
Yeah.
please getting her back on again. But I said, no, you guys are actually awesome. Mikey, where can people find out about you? What's your
Thanks.
Instagram?
Rhythmical Mike, and we're on the Old Farm bus.
Yeah,
so
that's literally where we are right now.
Rhythmical Mike is all my creative.
I noticed this, by the way. You did this on the last show I did. Like you strategically put you lined the camera up just so you can see the thing.
It was
behind me. It's
perfectly
like,
lined, wasn't
it?
it?
It's like a subliminal messaging. It's like you might just had an arrow being like, "This is what it is." Like, yeah,
I thought, the colour, it's
yeah.
your
No, I
yellow,
like
the
it.
white,
I liked
the
it.
U,
Yeah,
but
I like it.
yeah, we did put it up there strategically,
Yeah, I like
100%.
it.
That's where it stays.
Again, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Daniel_James_Fitness. Mikey, it's been a pleasure as always. Again, got some really good guests lined up, and again, keep doing what you're doing. You're absolutely awesome.
Mate,
A lot of
I'm
love.
really buzzing for this. I'm so happy that we've connected. It's been awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you for having me on your journey.
No, take it easy.
Big love, man. Bye.